You told me once, and this is an interesting story. You got to work there briefly in the complaint department.
Right.
And, that sounds fun.
It was, had a lot of fun with those angry customers.
So now here's another one. On
you missed a joke. You should have said there was no complaints.
No.
Welcome to Splat Attack, a podcast honoring the slime-filled past. I'm your guy who's always late for the polls, Manny. This is my wife, Heather.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show.
And I'm your candidate who's really polling out the stops, Kat.
And I'm your Yankee Doodle Slimester, Alex. And guys,
Yes.
it is election season. Probably by the time this episode comes out, it may already be past the election. But I wanted to vote for someone else. And I think we have another candidate that everyone has been forgetting this election season that we need to really bring back. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows about this one yet.
Yeah, I may actually have to put this out on the ballot. But Manny, I'm seeing something else going on here. What is this?
It looks like we got some hanging chads, or maybe it's time for a recount. Oh wait, no, it's Marc and Max. Hey guys,
What's up?
Hello.
Happy election week.
Oh gosh.
Happy Halloweenerville.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one.
Thank you again, Marc and Max, for joining us for another Weinerville special.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it is our absolute pleasure. And for those of you who are listening, obviously we're talking elections, so we are going to be looking at the Weinerville Election Special, which is the last special, I believe, because we've covered the Hanukkah and we've covered the New Year's. So yeah, this is the last one, which is sad.
Sad.
I want to talk more Weinerville with these guys. We'll have to find more excuses to have Marc and Max on.
Iegabed.
But that's not
Yeah, we gotta do that one because it's important to eat a nice and healthy breakfast every day.
So before we get into the episode synopsis, what was the motivation for wanting to do an election special? Was this something that Nickelodeon told you to do, or was this your idea?
It was probably Scott Fellow's idea. I don't know. It was time around the election, and they just thought it would be good to have, what if Boney ran for president?
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted, try and teach a little bit about the process.
Was that something you're passionate about?
Oh, definitely. To vote. We live in a democracy, and, we have to protect our democracy. And who better to protect it than
Boney.
Pew.
This was, now I remember, this was a huge campaign. Boney was on cereal boxes, and so I think this was the only special that was tied in with a commercial.
And this kicked off Nick's Pick the Presidents, or Kids Pick the Presidents too, so.
Nickelodeon's Kids Pick the President presents another great historical moment.
With me, Boney! So every morning, President John Quincy Adams, the 6th president, would go swimming in the Potomac River. The pres would leave his clothes on the riverbank and swim naked! One morning, a female reporter named Ann Royal showed up while the president was in the water. She sat down on top of his clothes and wouldn't move till he answered all of her questions.
Boney, you.
Not only did Ann Royal get her interview, but she also made history at the same time because she became the first woman ever to interview a president.
Boney, my clothes.
Now get
Well, Kids Pick the President had been around for a while because it was around before this also, but this tied in right along with it, which even in the episode when we see Melissa Joan Hart, one of the microphones she was holding had Kids Pick the President on it.
I think it's a great idea because I mean you're educating kids, making them feel like they're a part. Because when you're a kid, you're just like, I'm a kid, I know nothing. Like, but like you're really getting them involved, like helping them to understand the process, making them feel like their voice matters too. Maybe they can't vote yet, but it's like instilling that passion so that maybe, when they turn 18, they actually go out and vote and make good choices.
Yeah, I mean, there was even, it wasn't tied in with this special, but there was sort of a music video that featured Boney explaining the process of if you want to be a president, this is what you got to do.
If you want to be president of the USA, there are rules you gotta follow. There's a game you gotta play. A good old citizen like George Washington, be 35 or older, but there's more to the plan. Pick a party to fit your political ideals. But the donkey and the elephants, to me, a tasty meal. An independent run could get you to DC. And if I had a slogan, here's what mine would be. I'm Boney, leave me alone.
And we'll probably talk a little bit more about this as we go on, but this episode had a ton of cameos.
Oh yeah.
This, I mean, not only was it a big campaign in terms of marketing, but I don't know how in the world you got so many people involved with this one. This is huge.
So many non-Nick guest stars that
that
was one of my questions. Yeah, people outside of, let's say, Nickelodeon's target demographic appeared in this one, and it was every other minute. It was just a familiar face.
We were watching it last night, and we're going, "Oh my God, I can't believe we got Bill Maher in there," and then the ET people, and then Joe Lieberman.
You didn't just pull out your Rolodex and start spinning and say, let's call.
Well, I actually had the connection with Joe Lieberman, and Joe years later said, kids came up to me and said, "I recognize you from the Weinerville Election Special."
Was he like super proud? He's like, yes, that was me on Weinerville.
Yeah.
Excellent.
He said,
that's awesome.
I'll only do it if Coach Loogie's involved.
Only if Luigi's involved, which is a really unique puppet in its own right, too. He looks like he was made from the same material of a zip, right?
We thought it was that's a good call because it does look like that same foam. But I was also thinking too, what's the woman's name? The cleaning lady with the vacuum cleaner from the Hanukkah special?
Just a bobble.
Yeah, it looked like her a little bit, like a similar puppet.
It was made by the same puppeteer.
Oh.
Well, Manny, why don't we jump into the episode? Why don't you give us some episode details?
Okay. After receiving a call from a man with big ears and being told there is an all-you-can-eat buffet, Boney runs for president of the United States, and the Weinerville gang helps him with his campaign. However, the other candidate, A Magnate, is not pleased and is working on an evil scheme to sabotage Boney and is dragging his name through the mud. With the help of Boney's campaign manager, Liberty Brown, they will expose Hugh for the evil plan to turn all the nation's parks into parking lots.
Boo.
Boo, yeah. Boo! No, A Magnate! No!
And in this episode, much like the other two episodes, the other two specials, it's after we have our quick intro, it goes into the Get Ready song again, and with a new variation.
So get ready, let's move this dog Splatty! Get ready for election day!
I like how it starts with a tie-in with a presidential candidate, which I thought was a wonderful Nickelodeon tie-in because I didn't think anything about it. I was thinking as a kid, election. What are you going to do with an election special? What can you possibly do? This is boring. Election is boring. I don't want to watch this, but it was still really fun. And then watching it again as an adult, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that because they opened it, or you opened it, I should say, with Boney talking with Katrina Johnson as Ross Perot. and Ross Perot was like, I'm tired of running for president. You should do it. And then did the same thing as Boney did the last two. You could do this. No. You could do this. No.
Because you can save the environment, build better schools, and keep the American dream alive.
So?
Because you'll be commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful army.
So?
Because the White House has a 24-hour all-you-can-eat buffet.
Washington State, say, here we go!
And I loved that. I loved the tie-in with Katrina, and I thought that was cool. And one other thing that I also want to say that I just appreciate as a Nickelodeon fan, especially now that I'm an adult, I loved seeing Preslaysa in this. For those of you who are less familiar, Preslaysa was on the first 2 seasons of Mystery Files of Shelby Woo, and she had been in it quite a bit. Like, she was in Nickelodeon quite a bit. She was also on a few episodes of Figure It Out. She did a few interviews with Stickley a couple of times. So she's not someone who gets a lot of recognition within the Nickelodeon circle, and I was really happy to see that she was more than just an extended cameo like Melissa Joan Hart was. She was one of the main characters of the show because she played Liberty, and I really liked that. It was cool. Do you remember at all what it was like working with Preslaysa? I know it's been a while.
It's been a while. So
I know it has.
Yeah.
She was very, very committed to the role, and like you really believed like she really wants Boney to succeed in this presidency. Yeah. And she did everything in her power, and unfortunately got kidnapped during the I think it was the time when they were rollerblading or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got kidnapped. So you really cared about this character. And
what is she doing now? What?
She's a writer now.
She's an author.
Really?
Yeah, she's written a few novels, and she's a successful writer. She's been doing lots of book signings and a few, I don't know if you want to call them conventions, but get-togethers, obviously shedding a light on other authors, and she's been doing fantastic.
If you ever talk to her, please tell her we say hello.
I will be sending her this episode by the time it's all finished, so that way she can check it out. And so
thank you for doing such a great job in our show.
What was it like making this special? Because you guys did like first the New Year's, then the Hanukkah, and now this one. Was it just like, was it great getting back into the role and traveling through Washington?
This was the biggest budget that we had. The production, the stuff for the get ready, and the song, we're at LaGuardia Airport, and, we went like at 4 a.m. before anybody else got there, so we could film all that stuff. And we were actually on the conveyor belts.
I was going to say, you like filming in cramped spaces like cars and baggage claim.
It was neat having the hand as the X-ray thing.
That was my favorite part.
That was genius.
That was hysterical. I can't imagine how you actually did the conveyor belt shot, because you had to be in it. Were you just in the box that was sitting on it?
In the box.
You can see it when it comes out. There's a huge box right after Doc said, I feel like that's probably
right. So yeah, I'm lying down in there, and then the other puppeteers are in there too.
That is insane. Wow.
Yeah. And I remember it was like they were going, all right, you guys have 10 minutes to go because the airport's opening. Get it done.
No pressure.
I was wondering, because that's how you've always done it. It's very on location, and you don't. I mean, the previous specials, you haven't been able to shut things down. You just had to do it while everyone else was around. So I was like, man, that had to be a trick, shooting at an airport, because I know they weren't going to shut that down.
And Joe comes back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe O'Connor, yeah.
Joe O'Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you know who the other guy was? What are the special?
The henchmen.
The other henchmen?
I don't know who the other guy was.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was either.
Yeah,
not Scott Fellows.
No, but where, what other special was that tall guy in?
Well, he was on the New Year's special, wasn't he?
No, man.
Oh.
Come on.
This is a good trivia for him.
I guess the Hanukkah special is one of the henchmen.
Not one of the henchmen.
He was a Latka.
Oh,
Really?
oh my God, it was him?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. He was the main Latka character in the Hanukkah
Right.
special. Wow. I didn't recognize him without the hair.
Without
Yeah,
the
right, the
potato.
Frankenstein
Yeah.
hair. Yeah.
All right.
I did come up with this question. It's great that you had Boney be like the focus of this because he was the very popular character. But did you guys think about doing this for Dottie, being that she's a mayor?
Yeah. Well, no, but because they want, again, this is all about Boney for the tie-in, the big campaign. Boney runs for president, and on the cereal boxes, they're not gonna put me on this. Yes, they took my role from me. Yeah, I wanted to be on all the cereal boxes, but no. But for some reason, it was for Boney.
The intro segment, how at one point, well, let me ask this instead, because I was about to say, at one point you drive past the White House and there was a whole bunch of people that were standing out front, and I was about to ask a very specific question about, do you remember what the responses were? But do you recall any very specific responses from public at all while filming this, while you're catching them off guard with these really weird characters?
What the hell is that?
I would imagine if they didn't know ahead of time, those people would have seen this limo drive past with all these puppets sticking out, going, "What?"
Like a fever dream.
Taco upside down.
I think in Washington that's pretty normal.
You're right.
It's like all of us piled in Jordy's car.
Yes. How long was it between putting together the New Year's special and this? Was it how much time did you have in between to plan it out?
What year was the New Year, Manny? What year was the New Year's special?
The New Year's special was in 94, Hanukkah was 95, and this one was dated 95. But it didn't air till 96.
But either way, it was about a year in between, is from the sound of it.
Okay. I'll take that.
Well, I mean, the other two, there was about a year difference between them. So I didn't know if it was just if you had a more time to plan it out, or if it was just pretty much the standard. But looking at the time frame, it's probably about the same as the other two.
Did you get any network notes at all, or was it just a nice production? Because you also worked with Harvey Gold on the Hanukkah special, and I think he produced this one as well. I don't know if you remember working with them or not.
With Harvey? Harvey was great. Network notes? Yeah, like, since when, you remember for the...
Yeah, Captain Bob and Mark
Bob.
being...
The note was, since when is Captain Bob and Mark two separate people?
Since the beginning?
Yeah, since always.
Right, so this one, there was so much going on.
Give us one thing.
I don't think I really can't remember.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, it's not okay. Give
I
me my
thought
bills.
it was also cool having you as Lincoln too.
That was hysterical.
That was
Yeah.
great.
That caught me off guard, man.
That, and then did you see the little shadow puppets of the puppets?
Yeah, like they were right underneath.
But those are Pops and Louie. That was Jim Nappy. He was the puppet shadow guy. So
Oh,
he did
wow.
all those little things. And Coach Loogie. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to-
I was just gonna ask, who played the was it Prime Minister of Japooti who got barfed on? Who was that Boney just spewed all over?
I
Full
remember-
P Diddy.
I don't remember who that.
Oh,
I don't remember who that was.
Alex.
What?
Yikes.
Oh.
The the record, Boney was never at any of the parties.
Good.
Boney would have
Good.
dominated. So.
They almost got him. They said there would be a buffet there, but he knew
Oh
better.
my god.
Yeah, and that was one of the other things after Boney, just for those that are listening, after Boney had decided to run for president, and after we had our main opening song, then we go through a series of really quick little interviews and quick conversations where we would see Melissa Joan Hart on location talking about Boney running for president and talking about the what's the word I'm looking for, the other campaign,
Candidate?
that's the word I'm looking for, the other candidate, talking about him and what he was doing, and then he would be all super smarmy and charmy, and he's much more good looking, look, and would smile and ting and all that stuff.
Put back on your teeth right now.
Right after that, because I mean this whole section was really fast, and we would get the conversation between Boney and Liberty, which was Preslaysa, and how she was telling him he needs to go to all these different states, and she went through all these different states that he has to go to, and he's like, oh, we got to go through all those places in a week, and she goes, no, today. What?
Anyway, we have stops in North Dakota, South Carolina, West Virginia, New York, New Mexico, and Alaska.
Wow, all those places in 1 week?
Nope, all those places today.
Oh!
Yeah, tell the repairman I'm out or something.
I'm waiting for the cable guy.
I can't leave D.C. I gotta wait for the cable guy.
And then she manages to get him but you're gonna miss out on this great barbecue over at Texas. Oh, let's go! And then gets into the plane and takes off immediately.
I guess we'll just have to miss the world famous spare rib barbecue in Dallas, Texas.
What are you waiting for, Miss Liberty? Let's get out of here!
But it's a whole bunch of really quick one-liner moments. I think one moment, and a lot of this stuff is very of the time. One of them being the joke about Michael Jordan.
I'm afraid it's more bad news for Boney, as the new poll now ranks huge A Magnate as popular as Michael Jordan, the basketball player, while Boney is ranked as popular as Michael Jordan, the baseball player.
And there was a few other little period things like that.
Well, Presidents of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Their song in the middle there, Lump. That was very 90s.
She's in my head.
Yeah, that was very good. During the baseball thing, that was great. Not to mention having like Sacco catch the ball and everything, Boney catching it as well. That was a really neat, intricate scene.
Yeah, that's where things slowed down in terms of plot, because leading up to this, it was very, here's what the news is having to say. Here's how Boney's interacting with the states, and they had the McLaughlin group, the parody of the McLaughlin group, but it was the McChubby group, and all of them were Marc Weiner. Is this the first time we've ever used green screen in Weinerville, in anything Weinerville?
The ice skating, the roller skating with Dottie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We were experimenting with it and then looked at it and went,
In other words, you loved it.
But I mean, even the McChubby group, all three were you, and that was all in one continuous shot. And I don't think that was green screen.
No, it wasn't green
That
screen.
was like a comp, probably.
3 things put together.
And just kept the stage still, but you were in each one and then shot each one individually.
Professor Phosphate actually cloned him.
Oh, Marcus, I'm gonna be doing this to you now.
Now,
that was good.
Manny.
Yeah.
The big switch, the on and off switch.
Uh-huh.
Where is that switch now?
I think it's behind your voiceover booth.
No, it's no way you would know. It's
Scott Fellows has it.
It's downstairs.
It's downstairs.
There you go.
Right by the door. And I knew it was from the show, but I didn't know where it was
Let
from.
me just pause for a minute. How creepy would that be if Manny was like, "It's right by the door downstairs"?
Alex knew.
He
The
guessed.
call is coming from
Well,
inside the
yeah,
house.
That's because that's what you've said every other time. Where is this? It's downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Sweep for
Like
camera.
the Scott Fellows answer. It's
Like
been the
that's
same
it.
too.
Yeah.
So I have that by the door there for 25 years now, and I never knew where it was used. We watched the show last night, and I go, "Oh, that's where it's from."
That's why the electric gate doesn't work,
Oh,
because we have to flip the switch.
then we can get out.
And we only have a couple minutes until it closes.
Oh no! Here's a good trivia thing. What's the name of the company on the truck?
Oh, I got this right away. This was Best Plumbing. It's your dad's plumbing business.
How the hell does he know these things?
Pointed that out to me actually
That's
when
like-
we were
that's
rewatching
Mark's,
it.
family business right there. Which you told me once, and this is an interesting story. You got to work there briefly in the complaint department.
Right.
And
Oh, that sounds fun.
it was, you had a lot of fun with those angry customers.
So now here's another one. On the
You missed a joke. You should have said
No,
there was no complaints.
no. Here's a trivia question. On the conveyor belt, we put a product placement for a company. What company was it?
Kohler.
How does he do that?
How does he do it?
How do I know that?
Wow.
I worked at Home Depot for about 9 years, and that logo is so familiar. And that special disappeared off the internet for a while. Then it randomly came back in 2018. I'm like, oh, that's Kohler. Interesting.
Right.
Was that one of your, I don't know, props from like the family business, I guess, or was it?
Well, those boxes,
You just had a lot of them.
all of the boxes of the original puppet sets are made out of Kohler boxes
Interesting. I didn't-
Really?
because the family business they supplied Kohler, and those boxes were from Kohler.
Interesting. Wow.
Recycling.
Yeah. Upcycling.
Reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Well, after we got all those quick little interview moments and news telecast and things, then we go to the baseball game, and we had skating. No, we had ice. We had hockey. And the last last special. Now we've got baseball.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning for wanting to do baseball in this segment? Was it just because I wanted to?
It's a 90s movie. You gotta have it.
Baseball montage.
Scott Fellows,
It was
He
actually
wrote-
his wife who suggested.
yeah.
And I should have seen it coming. I should have, because he was in Weinerville. He was in the Hanukkah special. He was in the New Year special. I should have known there was going to be a Mark Summers cameo somewhere,
Mhm.
and I didn't think anything about it, but I loved the reveal. That was
Yeah.
so slick.
Bring in the wild man. The coach. I haven't thrown a ball since high school.
What was his name?
What was
They called him Wild Man or something,
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
That was
which
good.
I'm assuming was a reference to Major League.
Give me one.
good job.
It was the huge A's opportunity to go at bat, and they needed to strike him out. Instead of having Boney do it, they brought in Wild Man, or how I forgot exactly what it was. And it's Mark Summers, but you didn't see it was Mark Summers because he had his head down and the cap was hiding most of his face. He got to he got on his mark, and then looked
Get
up for
set.
the reveal. And I was like, "Oh, you kidding me? I should have known he was going to be in here somewhere. I should have known it." But that was such a good bit. I was expecting the whole 90s the 90s trope, like you were talking about with baseball movies, where he would almost strike him out, and then he'd hit on like the third strike, and then it would go out, or somebody would catch it. Or I was expecting that. I was not expecting Mark to throw the ball and hit him square in the face.
He did good for not throwing a pitch since high school. So yeah, look at
That's
that.
the-
No pie in the face?
Yeah, no pie in the face. There should have been one at least.
And that was the first time I saw Joe O'Connor in the episode, because it was very quick. And I because we had mentioned it before in the New Year's specials that was Joe. So in here, I wasn't expecting to see him at all. And then very, very quick in the baseball segment, the two thugs like collided, and I was like, "Is that Joe?" And I kept watching very intently. Like, I missed the rest of the jokes. I had to watch it again, but I kept waiting. Is Joe in this? Is Joe in this again? Is Joe in this? And I didn't see him for the rest of this segment. But obviously, he played a bigger role moving forward. But I was really happy to see, yeah, it is him. And then I went back and watched the segment again so I could enjoy the whole thing.
I replayed it. I was like, is he Knuckles? Is that him? And I was like trying to get a good frame on him. Like, I think it is.
Because you mentioned too, like he wasn't credited either on this.
Yeah,
Right.
either. This
I
one either.
looked. Yeah.
Not credited.
No. I think is his name as Stupid Eddie.
Right.
But we don't have Joe
We
O'Connor.
don't have Knuckles.
Boy, non-union back in the 90s would not stand for that today.
Not a,
What was the coach's name? Manny?
Oh, Coach Loogie.
Was he new for this?
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Joining us live now is Boney skipper, Coach Loogie. Coach, nice to see you. I think a lot of people are wondering, why do they call you Coach Loogie?
I don't know, Pat. I just can't figure it out.
Have you utilized him anymore since?
On the live show at all?
Tell us. No.
Manny, have we?
I didn't see Weinerville live, but I'm assuming no, I never made an appearance there. No.
And then the dog was in this one.
Yeah, Fluffy was only in it for like a second.
Yeah, right at the big chase at the end.
Yeah, Fluffy had more of a role in the Hanukkah special.
What is that, boy?
Yeah, exactly. Spicy onions. But I wanted to ask, the actor that played Hugh J. Magnate, he was very over the top and all over the place. I'm sure he was a lot of fun to work with. Where did you find him? Because I haven't seen anything else he's been in.
Who is he?
Philip Mansfield, apparently. There's no information about him, but he did a really great job playing.
He was
this
great.
role.
He was
Yeah.
perfect for this kind of a
Yeah.
special.
Is he still acting?
There's
I
no-
got
I don't
nothing
think
else.
so.
Got nothing else on him.
Mm-mm. Although Scott Fellows wrote another thing where it was the Fairly Odd movie, which was the Fairly Odd Parents spinoff, and Hugh J. Magnate Jr. is on that special. So it's a reference to this special, but it's a completely different actor. But I was like, that's a nice tie-in.
That's a good catch.
What is this? What is UJ Magnet in reference to?
What, huge magnate?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
huge.
huge
magnate?
huge butt magnate.
I missed that.
He's a big donkey.
Oh,
I thought it was huge A,
Mhm.
but then
oh, dang. That's a good joke. That's a good joke.
but they write the big J. They just it's a weird pronunciation of
Oh.
it.
Yeah, where I used to work, they would have vending machines, and there was in the vending machine there was these really big hamburgers, microwavable hamburgers, and they were called Hugh JASS burgers, Hugh Jass burgers. So yeah, as soon as I saw Hugh J. Magnate, I was like, yeah.
Wow, I missed it, but that's
You said
hilarious.
it reminds me of the good old days of vending machine burgers.
Yeah, I don't miss those at all.
I've never seen vending machine
I've never
burgers.
seen it
That
either.
sounds
Yeah,
disgusting.
They're,
no, they
they're
were not
not
good.
good. They're not good.
No.
Probably eat a lot of those. Boney probably would.
Oh yeah. Love
And then
to
he'd
eat
throw them up
And-
whenever he would go to the
Yeah, right. He'd throw them up right after.
And after the baseball game, now Huge A is trying to find a way to discredit Boney because now the people are loving Boney. The popularity has really spiked and people are loving him. And this is when we go to like Lisa, and we see her talk show and Bill Maher and hearing that canned applause in the background. And I was waiting for that kind of a joke where Bill Maher was talking about how Boney being a dinosaur, and it's like, do we really need a dinosaur in the White House?
Come on, do we really need a dinosaur for president? I think Congress is doing a perfectly good job bringing America back to the Stone Age.
Like there it was. I was waiting for that. As an adult, I was waiting for that, and I was not disappointed.
It was also cool having the old Weinerville clips in there too of just
Yes, that was the next thing. Was
just saying like he hates kids and take a look. And
Yeah,
like,
right.
Get out of here!
Yeah,
Yeah, get outta here.
Huge A was trying to find a way to discredit, do the throw the dirt in your eye type of thing, and then they found footage of Boney being awful to kids in Weinerville, playing actual clips of Weinerville, and then now it's all over the newspapers. Boney hates kids.
That the presidential candidate, Boney, the so-called kid-friendly candidate, is anything but. Take a look. Now get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here!
It's so reflective of like how campaigns go now. So
Oh yeah.
I also loved that after Huge A was reveling in this smear piece, he gave himself a selfie.
yeah, he just pulled the camera out. Just
He
took
pulled out a Polaroid camera and gave himself a selfie with it. It was like, is that the first on-camera selfie?
I don't know.
That's
Could be,
good.
right?
Mhm.
Good
See?
catch.
Weinerville's revolutionary, man.
Yeah.
first of a kind.
Here's another
Yeah.
question, Manny.
Huh?
The gold shovel.
The gold shovel.
Two specific questions.
The gold shovel that A Magnate uses for the groundbreaking ceremony. Where is it now?
It's in your shed.
I was gonna say that, Heather.
In your garage.
Downstairs.
Downstairs.
At the back door for intruders.
It's downstairs in the bathroom. They use it for a plunger.
No,
You.
it's by the compost.
I was close.
That's right. All right. It's by the we use that to shovel leaves into the compost.
Perfect.
Excellent. Is it still gold?
Most of it. A little bit. So it wasn't really gold to begin with. I
It has
thought
to
it
look
was.
hilarious. Like your neighbor's like, he has a gold shovel. What's
Listen, I'm somebody, okay?
I used to be someone.
All right.
Don't you know who I think I am?
30 years ago, I had my own show.
Not everybody's
Tell
gonna go.
somebody, Mark. We love you. We love
Aw.
One little moment. I mean, it was just a few seconds long, but it made me smile so much more now than it did when I was a kid. But it was whenever they were talking about Boney and how unhappy everybody was. Boney hates kids. And the cameraman was trying to get a comment from Geraldine Layborne.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. I ended up pausing that and looking at everything because that was shot in Nick Studios. And like the title under her name said Nickelodeon boss lady, and that was probably her office that she was going into. So you got to see the hallway and see inside of her office, and it's like, I love this. And of course, it was just for a few second joke, you know. Okay, do you have a comment about Boney's actions? No comment. Pushes the camera away. But the Nickelodeon fan in me was that I was really happy to see that.
We got to talk with her, so it means a lot to all of us.
I was saying it has to be kind of surreal to see that.
It has to be. Yeah.
When did you get to talk to her?
Last April.
April, I think. Yeah.
For the 45th anniversary of Nickelodeon. We all got to ask her questions and chat with her. It was cool. It was really cool.
What is she doing?
Oh yeah. She also slimed.
Oh yeah, I slimed Manny. I got to pour slime all over his head. It was quite a mess.
Yeah.
But
worth it.
What is she doing now? She's in New York, and she's doing a lot of philanthropy, still working on ways to help kids. So that's her big thing now. She talks with politicians daily on trying to make sure that kids' needs are constantly met.
And undo the damage.
And after this, after the Boney and getting his name smeared, now Sacco is getting a bit more involved, and there's a hearing, and soon after that, Liberty gets kidnapped. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Now we've got a chase. Now it's the most action-packed I've ever seen Weinerville.
But the Magnate in the limo.
Yeah.
When he pulls out and he goes. Pfft.
Oh yeah, when they speed away at the end. But you just skipped the whole thing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But also, but before they got to the breakout, there was Boney was still having to do another debate, and they were trying to look at the writing on the wall and try to really find the motivation to do the right thing, and they were in. This is what we were talking about earlier. They were at the Lincoln Memorial, and they read this amazing quote that's on the wall, and then you get to see the Lincoln Memorial, but it's not the Lincoln Memorial. It's a set that looks like it with Mark as a puppet of the Lincoln Memorial, and the second that showed up, I belly laughed. That absolutely got me.
This government for the people and by the people shall not perish from the earth. TJ was here?
Not bad, huh? Wrote it myself. All except that last part. Jefferson and his practical jokes.
Soon after that is when they start to Liberty is shown what huge A Magnate's plans are by turning everything into a giant parking lot. And then he goes into this debate with Boney, and he's threatening Boney that we need to, you make me look good. You need to throw this debate and be terrible, or you'll never see Liberty again. And that's when everyone else goes to try to save Liberty. And Boney is keeping his, he's doing what he has to make the other guy look good. But now we've got a prison break sequence, which was really ambitious. I mean, you got Pops and Louie who are breaking into the gate, and Zip and Dottie inside of a remote control car with all kinds of gadgets inside, including a hand that comes out the trunk and throws meatballs at the goons. I absolutely love that. I was not expecting that.
Addams Family crossover we never knew we needed.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. And I loved
the loogie water cannon.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, because he rolled right out of the truck top. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I loved Joe O'Connor's response after whenever he got hit with the meatballs and then has, oh, I was hit in the face with huge giant meatballs. I can't say it the way he did, but the things that I want to take so many things out of Weinerville, like little 3-second, 5-second clips, complete out of context things, and just put them up on social media that has nothing to do with anything. Just take that line. I was hit in the face with 2 giant meatballs.
I've been hit with a very large meatball.
And just watch people go, what?
And I'm just going to be in there and be like, what's this show?
You're going to be trolling everybody, Manny.
But yeah, what you were talking about, the water cannon, Joe O'Connor, again, not only got hit in the face with meatballs, but he was victim.
He was loogied.
He was victim to the loogie. But I loved how that played out too, because it was like a cannon. Because the top of the truck opens and you hear like the machine, and he slowly comes up and stops, turns like a cannon, and then spits. And again, we've seen Coach Loogie throughout the episode during the baseball segment just do a spit.
Give him the heat.
Which I was expecting. I should have known better. It wasn't just a tiny little, it wasn't a tiny little spit. It was somebody off camera, I'm assuming, with a giant bucket and just chucked it on Joe O'Connor.
And I like how Scott, I think Scott pretty much wrote this whole thing, tied in the Coach Loogie and then doing the Loogie at the end to save the day. I'm really appreciating Scott's writing.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. It all tied well.
I love the wordplay between like Hugh J and then Coach Loogie, and like there's that payoff there. And as kids, I think I got Loogie at the time, but Hugh J, Magnate, like I definitely, that one went over my head. But watching again, it's just like, this is brilliant.
One other thing that, again, the Nickelodeon fan in me absolutely loved was for the debate, Stickley was the moderator.
Yes.
Which made me so happy.
So I just re-met one of the 2 creators of Stickley.
Who'd you meet?
So she lives in a neighboring town next to Weinerville.
Really?
Ah.
No, she lives near here. And
Karen Kuflick?
yes, thank you, Heather.
And that's
I'm
also
a master Googler.
2 Mannys now.
Ah.
We just have different things that are our strengths.
Yes.
He was one of the 2 creators of Stickley.
Ah, yes. We have our own version of Stickley now. We have Splat Stanley.
Hi, friends.
Oh, it's great.
Oh
We actually each got to meet each other a couple weeks ago over in California, and I gave each of us our own Splat Stanley.
Tim
Lagasse. Yes, I was just gonna say he was one of the lead puppeteers.
Tim Lagasse made those puppets.
Yeah.
Did you meet him?
Yes. Yeah,
We got to interview him for the Allegra's Window anniversary.
Oh, great.
Do you remember what it was like working with him?
Amazing puppeteer. Brilliant.
I love how the mouth moved, the cheeks, and it would just really, you could feel him chewing on it.
Of Coach Loogie? Yeah.
Not Tim's, the puppet.
Yeah.
Tim was so cool. I loved talking with him, and
have him on our show.
Yeah, he was very sweet, very funny. Had some great stories. Because we're talking. Excuse me, we're talking Stickley for just a moment because he was on the election special. During the interview that we got to do with him, he had stuff everywhere. He was in his room where he records, and he had props, pictures from so many projects that he's been a part of. And then at one point, I was wearing my Stickley shirt for the episode, and he still had the set for the dipstick prop set that was part of the segments that we 90s kids would know, because he got to puppeteer Stickley for a lot of the Nick in the Afternoon stuff, and dipstick was one of those segments, and he was really proud of that. He said, I've still got the set right there, and it was sitting on top of like a bookshelf. It was really cool to see. But anyway, the election special, it is revealed that Liberty has been rescued by huge A Magnate, and now he's no longer allowed to run for president, and then Boney declines and drops out of the running for president. What?
Because of the tape that she recorded.
Yeah.
Sneaky of her. The thing was like this big, and she, big butt.
Any comments?
No one saw that coming.
Any comments?
But we ended the episode
with a song.
Mark, well, I'll throw this to Mark, because I know how passionate you are about getting out there and voting and all that kind of stuff. It ended on a very different note that I was expecting for an election special. Not necessarily the music, but what Boney's message was. Could you, for those who have never seen the show and should check it out because it's awesome, you can check it out, it's on YouTube. But what was Boney's message at the end of the episode?
Now get out of here. I don't.
Do you remember?
No. Did he have a message when we watched it yesterday?
The message I think that you're bringing up, Alex, is when it was time for Boney to agree to be president, he said he wasn't ready. But someone like Liberty Brown should be president. Not yet, but soon.
There are other people who could be president. Get out there and vote. Learn what you need to learn and exercise your right.
I see some similarities here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huge A Magnate, wanting, businessman, corrupt, and then
But if I was Hugh J, all I would say is, it's so nasty what you're saying right now.
Oh no.
It's huge.
Quite frankly, we don't like that. It's so nasty. What Boney's saying about me is so rude.
Oh my god.
Yeah, huge. Huge A, that's great. I love that.
But
little hands. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Boney has
Little hands.
Yeah, Boney has
do you remember?
yeah, I can't get the proportions just right. There we go. It's huge.
Did you see that episode that Boney did about Trumposaurus? All those.
Oh yeah, that's the Don't Ask Boney segments.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the Trumposaurus. And
Yep.
worse than the Rosiodactyl!
That was one of my favorite edits ever.
Great.
When he comes in, I love that.
Oh yeah, with like the huge bomb thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, marvelous. It was great.
And then for as far as the election special goes, we close out with this big number that has cameos with pretty much everybody and almost all the cameos that were in the episode, and get to all the locations. This was a big, very, very ambitious episode, and some of these things I bet, just looking at some of the tracking shots of the White House, and there's a couple times you see some airplanes and helicopters. I highly doubt that was even stock footage. I bet that was stuff you actually saw there and utilized.
I personally know the Blue Angels. I got them.
You
For
really
real?
do?
I was about to say
Oh.
that would be really
That
freaking
was
cool.
That was good. That was a really good shot,
He just pulled a Jordan.
Y'all like to get Manny's goat because he is very naive when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
we all went to. He was just saying we went to L.A. and Jordy, he's our graphics designer. He lives there, and he took us all through L.A. Was showing us these wonderful sights. And the very first night we were there, we went to an In-N-Out Burger, and there was a couple of trees that were palm trees that went into an X, and then he starts to. Are you guys familiar with? It's a mad world. Because this In-N-Out Burger, these trees in this position like that, it's an homage to that movie. We're like, oh, hey, that's cool. And then everyone, except me, everyone was like, oh, well, I got to get a picture of this. And they got their phones out and started taking pictures. And then we start getting in the car, and he's taking us around. And I said, okay, Jordy, how much of this that you're going to be telling us is like really filming locations and not just you pointing out random things that we wouldn't know is not real? Yeah, this is the tunnel that they filmed The Dark Knight in. And at one point, he did say that we were going through this overpass or going under an overpass, and he was like, "Yeah, this is where they filmed The Dark Knight." And Manny goes, "Oh my God, really?" He said, "No, I'm totally kidding right now." You saying, "I know the Blue Angels." No, I'm totally kidding. Cat went. He just Jordied Manny because Jordy's the name.
Jordy.
My guy.
My guy.
Well, the episode, the election special is over, but we still have a few questions that we're going to ask Marc and Max. So stick around for a little bit. Don't hit those polls too early. You know, we got a little more to talk with you about. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Nickelodeon Weinerville will be right back after these messages.
Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Splat Attack. If you are enjoying this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell. If you are listening on a podcast app, please leave us a review. These very simple actions for you help others who like to have a wiener-tastic time. That sounds weird. If you like our show and you would like to get a bit more, head over to our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/splatattack, where we have exclusive bonus minisodes every Friday. Slime streams twice a month, early access bonus footage, all kinds of really fun stuff. So head over to patreon.com/splatattack and become a gagoid. The one thing I really don't like about this episode is the fact that Boney is naked, and you really shouldn't be naked, so go over to our bonfire to get some sweet merch, because cover that up. Who wants to see that? Go to bonfire.com/store/splatattack store with hyphens in between, where you can make sure that you can find all of your Splat Attack and Nickelodeon needs.
Tune in next time, Slimesters, when we dig deep into that wonderful holiday we call Thanksgiving, with these two Friends episodes going head-to-head in a versus battle. You can catch all the retro-rific fun on Splat Attack.
You're watching Nick, and now back to Nickelodeon Weinerville.
All right, everybody, welcome back to our discussion on the Weinerville Election Special. And there are three specials. We've talked about them already. We have 3 episodes talking about it, including this one. So, Manny, I'm going to ask you first, not really to say, you know, each one of these is better than the other, just personal preference, because I know you love all of these. If you had to put in order which one you love the most and move down from there, which one would you pick?
The New Year's special's my number one. It has everything in it. I mean, Mark, the gang is in it. Cocktail Frank is one of the focuses. He's one of my favorite characters. Just the whole everything being in New York, it was fantastic. Like when I rated it at SSS. It was fantastic. Love that special. The election special is my number 2. I really loved it. It was such a big story, especially taking place in Washington. When I was really little, I was really impressed with like presidency, anything to have to do with Washington, D.C. I used to draw the Capitol, and I used to draw the White House and everything.
He used to draw money. Like,
yeah,
he was obsessed with like sketching money.
Yeah, just with all the intricate designs, it was really cool to do that. So being from Weinerville and having to do with Washington and presidency, totally number 1. And my third is the Hanukkah special. And it was, like I said, when I first talked to you guys on Zoom, it was one of my favorite specials because I never knew anything about the Hanukkah holiday, and that was the first thing I've ever saw of it, and it was a really, really great story. Not only with it just being in a cramped room and so creative, but you sort of heard the story of Hanukkah 3 times in that one special, and it was done in the most amazing way possible. If you can mix sci-fi into slapstick and puppets, that's all you need. It's just tremendously, tremendously well done. And those are my ranks on the Weinerville specials.
Thank you. I wish you would have reviewed it. That was a good review.
Well, he just did.
My review.
You just did.
No.
It is my review.
Now, Mark, I'm not going to ask you to rank all 3 because they're your show. But watching this episode, rewatching the election special, what are some things that, while watching it, you were really proud of? Is there any specific moments, things that you thought were funny that still stood up?
You know, we were watching it together, and I was just amazed. You know, Scott Fellows and his wife did a great job. You know, there's so much in there. You know, the fact that we built all those, I got to use a lot of those multiple puppet sets. It was a dream of the puppetry to get a lot of people in, you know, and talking. The fact that John Tesh and what's her name?
Mary Hart.
Max said, watching it, he said, they're really good puppeteers. You know,
Yeah, she was great with the arms.
Yeah, she had her arms folded.
Right.
And John Tesh was using his arm in sequence with what he was saying to indicate certain points.
And it was upside down and twisted a couple times, but you know.
There was a promo at one point which you actually had John Tesh and Mary Hart talk about Weinerville, and they were in their Weinerized puppets.
That's Mary Hart, and of course I'm John Tesh. And Mary, you have a little something right here in your
Oh,
teeth.
thank you very much.
Actually, your legs are a little longer as a wiener.
Can I mention that your head's just a little large for your body?
You think so?
But you're looking awfully good. Awfully good. Well, this is what it's like to be wienerized, and we're loving every second.
Right here on Entertainment Tonight. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
So we built that set down, or wherever we weren't in Florida at the time. So we built it and sent it out to California, and they did all that on their own. We weren't coaching.
They did. It was amazing. She's like, "Is your head a little too big for your body, John?" It was hilarious.
So I loved, you know, the Abraham Lincoln bit. I have that set downstairs.
That was great.
That was really special. And
that switchboard too with Dottie in the van, that was pretty cool. Like all the lights.
That was, yeah, I loved that. I've always been a fan of like little action. I'm an action movie junkie. I love that kind of stuff. And to see that Dottie was inside, you know, obviously it's a set, but you know, but the fact that it was inside the little remote control car, both her and Zip, I was like, this is really cool. This is like the most coolest we've ever seen Dottie. This is cool.
I was gonna say, was all that Jersey Jim, by the way?
All right, Jersey Jim was in there.
I know Wavy Davy did the TV show, but for the specials, it was Jersey Jim.
Right. So he did a lot of those builds.
Okay.
Max, was there any standout moments in this that you really enjoyed?
I mean, I think what you were saying before, the fact that it was so in universe, you know, like all the other specials are kind of maybe the New Year's special was like that too, like with Paul Schaefer. But he's like one of, if I remember correctly, besides for them, that one was kind of also, but this had a lot more cultural. It felt like everyone knew about Weinerville, and it was really part of it, just like, you know, like anybody else. It was really part of everything. So that was cool to see. And I loved that whole breakout scene was great. I remember it was bringing back memories. I really hated Hugh J. Magnate when I was a kid watching this. It was like you felt scared for her that she, you know, that Liberty had been captured, and it was like real stakes. He was a great villain. So I thought that was entertaining to watch. what else? It was, yeah, it's just cool. It was like very cohesive. I think the sports scene made it a little bit more uplifted. You get all the cameos. Um, yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And Boney's always just, I love to see who he's gonna yell at, and how he's gonna show, and also how they're gonna redeem him in the end. But yeah, it was a great. We weren't even supposed to watch the whole thing. I was like, can you even find it on YouTube? And he found the video and clicked it, and then we just got sucked into it. So it really flies. It was a
Yeah,
lot of,
it cooks.
Yeah.
Kat, what about you? Were there any standout moments for you?
I mean, the whole time I was watching, I was trying to figure out how you pulled off certain stunts, like with the puppets, right? Like, oh, did you really go through the baggage claim and the detector? And oh, how did they rig up the loogie puppets? So I, from like a technical standpoint, I thought it was really cool to rewatch, like as an adult, like production wise. And again, like some of the jokes and wordplay that went over my head as a kid, I got a chuckle out of them this time. I don't even think I knew who half of the non-Nickelodeon cameos, like who they were as a kid. I remember seeing them when watching the Weinerville special, and then seeing them like E.T. Oh, that's the person from Weinerville. No, I watched Weinerville and that's the person from E.T. Okay. Sort of making those connections. Because I was trying to think, was 95, 96. I was like 9 or 10 years old at the time when this first premiered. But yeah, I think it was really cool as an initiative to get the kids involved. I remember they did Kids Pick the President, but now you have Boney as kind of like the mascot, like, get out there and vote. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it as a kid, and I enjoyed rewatching it as an adult.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Heather, what are your thoughts?
So I have said before, I wasn't like allowed to watch a lot of Nickelodeon as a kid. So I didn't see it as a kid. I saw it like when Manny showed it to me. So I was a lot older. But I just thought it was really cool, like having a special for kids about the election, teaching them about it, getting them kind of pumped about it. But at the same time, like as an adult, I was like, that's kind of a little bit scary to have like Liberty kidnapped. Like that was really intense. And like, I'm an adult and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Is she gonna get out?
Like, is she gonna be okay? What a jerk. What a huge
Huge aim. Yeah.
But like you said, like the stuff in the airport, like just like all those little fine details, like all the cramped spaces, like that was wild to me. And like trying, like you said, Kat, like trying to wrap my mind around like, how did they do that? I mean, it probably was very, very comfortable.
I'm sure.
When we're pushing on the baggage carrier,
Yeah.
Go back and check that. How many puppeteers are in that scene? That you don't see.
all right, with Sacco's legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big thing.
So there's one doing that.
All right, you have Pops, Louie,
Sacco, Dottie. Big puppy pile.
Because Mark sort of he fits in the pile of luggage, but then you think, oh, but the other puppeteers though.
You gotta really like each other, or
Yeah. Get to know each other really well.
And if I'm working Dottie, who's working Sacco? Scott Fellows.
Scott Fellows.
It's like, wait for it.
No, but that's someone else doing it there.
That's how he's gonna spend his weekend, just watching it over and over again, trying to.
I'm
to
writing
figure out.
I'm writing a Weinerville book, so yes, this will be perfect for that. Yes.
He's gonna have one of those big charts, with like the strings, and he's like,
right.
This
How
was
many
Splat.
puppeteers can fit in here?
Yes. Is one of them
doesn't work out.
Right. And
Was Scott's wife involved?
right. If Mark was there, who was there?
It gets me thinking, man.
There had to be a second shooter.
Back and to the left.
Wow.
Last question that I can think of as far as this election special goes, and again, I know I'm pulling from memories that are almost 30 years old. Is there anything specific that you remember about making this special?
I remember a lot of stuff.
Hit us with one. Anything about Washington specifically?
Nothing about Washington.
Anything?
Yep, there's something. So, we were in that house where, Sako goes by with the car and the meatballs. I do remember that. Yes.
Whose house was that? Do you remember?
Bobby Boucher.
No, for real.
I'm the devil.
Bobby's house.
That was
I guess we have to check out the medulla oblongata.
That was the devil's house. That was devil's house. No, so much of it. I remember in the crowded scene there, going at the when we were listening, the rally, working through there, and Scott saying, possibly, maybe making this up. I'm not sure. Bobby, not sure she says that. That it would be like, I would go and I go, Scott is doing Boney now. Am I gonna do Boney? Is Scott gonna do Boney?
I want to know about that guy that you played, the older guy who was hooked up to the IV.
Yeah, Manny.
Who's that guy?
Who's that guy?
I have no idea.
Me.
That was you?
Me. It was I.
I had no idea.
No, I really do. I was kind of proud. And then we got a note from the executives. When is Mark
Colonel Sanders?
Different people.
Yeah,
different people.
We need more Ross Perot. This special's going off the rails.
Got a note from the executives. Where is Captain Bob? He's not in any of this episode.
I told you.
Gone fishing.
Yeah, right.
Well, we have one quick segment that we'll do real fast, and these are usually pretty quick, and then we'll wrap up the episode. So we are going to go to Rename Game. Mark and Max, what we do for Rename Game is we take the episode and we try to give it a different name, something that we think could be fun. It doesn't. Sometimes the ideas are really cool, and sometimes we're like, I got nothing, and we just throw something out the wall just because we can. So, I know I'm springing it on you, so I'll give you guys a little bit of time. But Kat, if you had to rename Weinerville Election Special, what would you call it?
Just because the song is now in my head, I think I'd just call it Yankee Doodle Boney.
That's good.
Manny, what would you call it?
Elections, not all it's cracked up to be.
And Heather?
Originally, I was gonna go with Kid for Prez, but now I was like the Bone Man for Prez.
I'm gonna throw it over to you, Max. If you had to rename Weinerville Election Special, what would you come up with?
I would say Spit Cachet, like Ricochet. The story of how one coach saved an election.
Ooh.
Oh.
And Mark.
No.
Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher, I don't know. That was an excellent one.
Keep it as is?
The Weinerville Election Special.
Boney's Buffet? I don't know.
Boney saves liberty.
Oh.
Liberty and justice for all.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, if I had to rename the Weinerville Election Special, I would combine a couple of words and call it Wiener Election.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Good one.
We will put those options up for all of you Slimesters on Instagram and vote for which one you like the best, just for bragging rights. But that is going to be it, everybody, for our Weinerville episodes, which we hope to have. We are going to find an excuse again to have Mark and Max on, because these guys are just too awesome. But a very special thank you to both of you for we've said thank you before for making these shows and how much we enjoyed them, but thank you for both of you for always coming out and sharing some great stories and some laughs, and we really very much appreciate you.
We're doing the old style hearts for you.
Yeah, I can't do the new style one. I don't understand the new style one.
It's this.
No. No.
Oh,
Millennial heart.
Please.
I can't get my finger.
No, we love doing these. They're so much fun.
Well, we very much appreciate you both and sharing the love, and we will absolutely find an excuse to have you guys on again. But for all of you, as he's making the Batman face, that's what I used to call it, Max. This was the Batman face.
That wasn't. It was Cat.
And Mark
yeah.
And Mark is his heart is pumping.
All right.
But to end the episode for all of you Slimesters, we have our closing question for the episode, which is, if Boney were elected president, what do you think his first course of action would be? You can write to us via email at splatattack2021@gmail.com. You can DM us on all of our socials. Just look for @SplatAttack Podcast. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, do that. The button's right there. Click it. We would appreciate it. Interact with us wherever you can. We're always happy to hear from you. But it looks like we're all wrapped up. But I've got to get some turkey ready for our friends' Thanksgiving verses for next time.
Sounds fun.
Manny and Heather, you're on that one too. So you better get to the polls so we can get the film, get this film thing started. You know. But before you go, can you help me close up the studio, please?
Aye, co-captain. I have to make sure the Gat kitchen is clean because someone forgot to clean the Gat kitchen.
Listen, I had to scrape gravy off the ceiling. It was not me.
Wait, you think it's me? No, it was not me. That was Phoebe.
My guy. We'll splat you guys later.
Phoebe, seriously.
Phoebe!
Yeah, Phoebe, why'd you make such a mess?
I'm publicly shaming you.
This episode was recorded at Splat Attack Studios, in virtual home studios, though none in Florida.